base needs that must be met. All human beings have them. We all have different goals, different desires, different ways of trying to make ourselves feel good, but we have the same needs. And the first need that everybody has is the need for certainty. We all have a need somewhat. And what I'm going to ask you to do is, I want you to write next to each person's name some unique way you're going to let them know you care about them in the next 30 to 45 days. Some unique way. Because what we all assume is that everybody knows we love them. But
wouldn't it be amazing to just be rich and happy, like flipping a switch?
Oh, yeah. That fantasy. It's pretty common.
And it actually touches on something we were looking at in our sources. Mm-hmm. But what if the way we usually imagine that dream? Mm-hmm. What if it's actually missing a crucial piece of the puzzle?
That's really the core of it. Our sources suggest that while we often link being rich with, having lots of money, the real richness, it comes from something deeper, a feeling of fulfillment.
Right.
You could have mountains of cash, but without that sense of satisfaction, you're still missing something fundamental. The source material puts it quite strongly. Success without fulfillment isn't really success at all.
Okay, fulfillment. Let's unpack this. It sounds fantastic, obviously.
Right.
But it can also feel a bit abstract.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's something you'll get after you've ticked all the boxes, the career, the house, whatever your definition of success is. But our source kind of flips that around.
It does.
And for you listening, especially those who shared material about wanting complex ideas made simple, wanting stuff broken down, getting real world results, well, this deep dive into fulfillment is going to be right on the money.
Precisely. Our sources explain that lasting fulfillment isn't some random stroke of luck. It actually comes from consistently meeting 6 fundamental needs that all humans share.
6 needs. Okay.
Think of them as the basic ingredients for a truly rich and satisfying life. Doesn't matter who you are or what you're aiming for, these apply.
So what we're going to do today is really get down to brass tacks with these 6 core needs. We'll explain them in everyday language, try to ditch any confusing jargon, and most importantly, give you some clear ideas on how you can start to, address these needs in your own life. Sound good?
Let's do it. Let's start with the first core need, the need for certainty.
Certainty, okay.
At its heart, this is about feeling safe and secure. It's a basic survival instinct. The source uses a really straightforward example. You need to have a reasonable expectation that the floor you're standing on will hold you up.
Right, or that the roof over your head isn't going to suddenly collapse.
Exactly. Without this fundamental sense of stability, it's tough to focus on anything else. It's like needing a solid foundation before you can build anything, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And, can you think back to a time when you felt really uncertain about something big?
Oh, for sure.
Maybe your job security or a key relationship, your health. It's a really unsettling feeling, isn't it? It just colors everything else.
Definitely. And the source points out that we all try to create certainty in different ways. Some people rely on really strict routines, helps them feel grounded.
Please.
Others might try to gain control by being the expert in every situation, or sometimes even by trying to control other people, which isn't great.
No.
For many, faith provides a huge sense of certainty, that belief in something bigger. And then there are habits we fall into for comfort. Maybe smoking, drinking.
And the quick fixes.
Yeah, which unfortunately offer a short-term feeling of ease, but can cause much bigger problems down the line.
So the way we seek certainty matters.
Hugely. That's what's interesting to consider. The methods we use can either make us stronger or weaker in the long run. Like developing an inner confidence that you can handle whatever comes your way. That's a much more empowering form of certainty than relying on external things or, those unhealthy coping mechanisms.
But there's a twist, isn't there?
There is. There's a paradox.
Yeah.
If we had absolute certainty, if we knew exactly what was going to happen every single second of every day.
Oof. Life would get incredibly boring fast.
Right. Which leads hilariously, as the source points out, straight into the second need. The need for uncertainty and variety.
Just after we establish needing certainty. Okay, talk about a contradiction.
It seems like one, but it's not really. It's like we're wired for a bit of surprise. We simultaneously crave novelty, adventure, new experiences. If everything was predictable, life would lose its spark pretty fast.
Yeah, you need that spice, that change.
Exactly. And this need for uncertainty, it's actually a key driver of growth. When things are predictable, we don't have to adapt or learn new things. But when we face the unexpected,
you're forced to stretch. You have to figure things out.
You grow. The source gives a great example of how we balance both needs. Going to the movies.
How so?
Well, You have the certainty of being in a safe environment,
Right.
right? The chair's going to hold you, the room's dark,
Okay, yeah.
but you get to experience all sorts of exciting and unpredictable stories unfolding on the screen. Uncertainty, but in a controlled way.
Huh. And who hasn't rewatched a favorite movie?
Yeah.
The Source totally gets it.
Yeah.
You're certain you'll enjoy it, but you've probably forgotten just enough details to still get that little bit of novelty.
Exactly. Finding that balance.
So these first two needs, certainty and uncertainty, they're like this constant dance, finding that sweet spot between feeling secure and feeling alive.
Precisely. Now, the third fundamental human need is the need for significance.
Significance, feeling important.
Yeah, our basic desire to feel special, important, unique. That our life has meaning. We all want to feel like we matter in some way.
And this is where things can get a bit complex, right? Because the Source highlights that people try to feel significant in, well, both healthy and unhealthy ways.
Definitely. Sadly, some people try to build themselves up by putting others down. You know, I'm important because you're not. It's like trying to be the tallest person in the room by making everyone else shorter.
That's a good way to put it.
Even something as destructive as violence can, unfortunately, give some individuals a distorted sense of significance, a feeling of power or control in that moment. The Source isn't condoning this at all, obviously, but it's important to understand the underlying motivation, that need being met, however dysfunctionally.
Yeah, understanding the why behind it. The Force even touches on how some interpretations of religion can sometimes be twisted, to make people feel superior to others. Another way of seeking significance.
Right. But what's crucial to understand is that there are constructive and positive ways to pursue significance. Developing a unique talent, achieving a goal you've worked really hard for, expressing your individuality through your style.
Things that build you up without tearing others down.
Exactly. Even acts of kindness and generosity, giving more than what's expected, can make you feel unique and valued in a really positive way. So the Source encourages us to ask ourselves, how do you currently seek to feel significant in your life? What are your go-to strategies?
That's a really important question. Worth sitting with. Okay, so need number 4.
The fourth need is the need for connection and love. This is our deep-rooted desire for belonging, for intimacy, for positive relationships with other people. Pure and simple connection.
But the Source points out an interesting tension here, doesn't it? With the need for significance we just talked about.
It does, because to feel unique and significant, you have to be somewhat different, right? Stand out, which can sometimes create a sense of separation from others, conflicting with that need to connect.
Yeah, I can see that. Being totally unique versus being totally connected. It's another balancing act.
Exactly, and we see this play out in relationships all the time. Someone might deeply crave closeness, but then when they feel too close, they might worry about losing their sense of self, their significance, and then they pull away. The Source also points out some less healthy ways we might try to get connection. Think about someone who gets sick and suddenly receives a lot of attention and care.
Or like a kid who acts out to get their parents' focus, even if it's negative attention.
Right. The Source suggests that adults can sometimes unconsciously repeat these patterns, maybe creating problems or drama to feel noticed and cared for, trying to get that connection met.
Wow. It's a bit of a sobering thought, seeing it laid out like that. But thankfully, there are many positive ways to build connection.
Absolutely. Showing love and affection for others, spending time in nature and feeling that connection to something larger, engaging in spiritual practices, appreciating art, practicing mindfulness or meditation, sharing intimacy with a partner.
Even the bond we have with our pets counts. Right.
Definitely. So the Source encourages you, the listener, to maybe think about how satisfied you are in this area right now. Maybe rate it 0 to 10. Just a quick gauge of where you're at with connection and love.
Good exercise. Okay, so those are the first 4. Certainty, uncertain variety, significance, connection, love. And now we move on to the final 2 needs. The Source emphasizes these are absolutely vital for achieving true fulfillment, going beyond just meeting those first 4.
Yes. The 5th need is the need for growth, personal growth. The source material is really clear on this. It's absolutely essential for long-lasting fulfillment.
Essential, not just nice to have.
Not at all. Without it, we can feel stagnant, like we're not really living to our full potential. The Source uses a powerful, though sad, example of people who seem to have it all by conventional standards, wealth, success, yet they still feel empty inside.
And in tragic cases, even take their own lives.
Exactly. Often, a lack of personal growth and that missing sense of purpose can be a major contributing factor. Growth is also deeply linked to feeling like you're making a meaningful contribution.
Which leads us perfectly to the sixth and final core need, the need for contribution.
Yes. This is our fundamental desire to give back, to make a difference beyond ourselves in a way that feels meaningful. It's about serving something larger than just our own needs.
And the source contrasts this with those unhealthy ways of meeting the first four needs we talked about, like trying to control others for certainty or creating drama for connection.
Right. Those methods don't lead to any real personal growth or positive impact on the world. True fulfillment, the source stresses, comes from consciously choosing to meet all our needs, but in ways that also foster our own growth and allow us to contribute positively to the lives of others.
So it's about how you meet the needs, choosing empowering ways.
Precisely. The source uses a really insightful comparison. It's like most of us are playing a game without even knowing what the goal is. It suggests the real goal is this feeling of fulfillment.
And that comes from understanding and actively meeting these six core human needs in ways that empower us and let us give back.
You got it. That's the target.
Okay, so we've broken down these six core needs: certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, and contribution. Now, the source shifts gears a bit. It talks about a kind of philosophy for actually achieving this sustained growth and contribution. And it boils down to this: becoming a team player.
Yeah, becoming a team player. It might sound a little simplistic at first glance.
A bit corporate, maybe?
Maybe, but the reasoning behind it is actually quite profound. What's fascinating is the idea that as humans, we're often far more motivated to take action for people we care about than we are just for ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. You might push yourself way harder at work to provide for your family than you would just for your own personal gain, or stay up late helping a friend.
Exactly. The source argues that lasting growth requires a strong why, a powerful reason, and that why is very often connected to the people we love and value our team.
It's that concept of having a purpose bigger than just your own immediate needs and wants. It gives you fuel.
Right. The host in the source even shares a personal story about realizing this, how it changed their perspective and really drives their actions today. It makes perfect sense if your personal growth and your contributions are tied to the well-being of your team. You're naturally going to be more invested in both. You have a reason to keep going.
So it links growth and contribution directly to connection.
Beautifully. Okay, so how do we actually put this idea of being a team player into practice? How do we encourage connection, growth, and contribution in our own lives using this model? The source gives us 4 specific things we can do, actionable steps.
Good. Let's get practical. What's the first one?
The first one is about reconnecting with someone from our past where the relationship ended on a sour note.
Okay, that might feel a little uncomfortable for some people, or a lot uncomfortable.
It might, but the source provides a very specific 3-step approach for making this call. Makes it less daunting. First, clearly say who you are when you call.
Simple.
Second, acknowledge how the relationship ended. Don't try to pretend it didn't happen or rewrite history. Just own it.
Okay, honesty.
And third, express sincere gratitude for the positive times you shared before the conflict arose. And this is key, with absolutely no expectation of getting anything in return. You're not asking for forgiveness or trying to restart things necessarily, just offering that acknowledgement and appreciation.
Wow. Think about the potential impact of that, not just on the other person maybe, but on your own emotional well-being, letting go of that old baggage.
Exactly. The source even describes this as a way to build a powerful inner strength. Taking that step.
Okay, that's a big one. What's the second action step?
The second one is perhaps a little less daunting, reaching out to someone you've simply lost touch with due to the busyness of life. You know, where there wasn't any specific negative event that caused the distance, just drifted apart.
Happens all the time. Life gets crazy.
It does. The steps here are similar. Call them, remind them who you are, maybe share a quick positive memory, and then honestly explain how you just drifted apart because life got busy. Then express that you still care and would be open to reconnecting sometime if they are. Keep it light.
No pressure, just reaching out.
Exactly. The source emphasizes the potentially positive ripple effect of this simple act of reaching out. You never know what it might mean to someone.
Yeah, it's so easy to let those connections fade, isn't it? But a quick phone call.
Yeah.
You really can reignite something positive. Okay, assignment 3.
The third assignment is about identifying who your current team members are, and the source defines team really broadly.
Not just work colleagues.
No, loved ones, family, close friends, supportive work colleagues maybe, but really anyone whose feelings matter to you and whom you deeply care about, people whose wins feel like your wins and whose struggles affect you.
Your inner circle.
Pretty much. The instruction here is to actually write down the names of each of these important people. Get specific.
Okay, got my list mentally going.
And then for each person, brainstorm at least one specific and unique way you can show them you care in the next 30 to 45 days.
Unique is the key word there, isn't it?
It really is. The source stresses the importance of doing something unique because we often assume people know we care, but they might not truly feel it unless we show them in a way that resonates specifically with them. This proactive approach can prevent misunderstandings and really strengthen those bonds.
The benefits.
Huge. Deeper connections, obviously. The fun and joy of being creative in how you show you care. Positive feelings for yourself, knowing you're nurturing these important relationships. And the source even says it can have positive spillover into your career and overall well-being. Happy relationships tend to make everything else better.
Yeah, that makes sense. The host in the source shared a personal example about connecting with stepchildren, right? Understanding what makes each one feel loved individually.
Exactly. It highlights how understanding each person's individual needs for feeling love, their love language, if you will, is key to making these gestures truly land.
It's a great reminder that those small, intentional, personalized gestures can have a really big impact. Okay, finally, the fourth action step.
The fourth action step focuses on prioritizing self-care as an essential part of being a good team member to yourself.
Putting your own oxygen mask on first. This is so crucial and, let's be honest, often gets pushed way down the list.
Way down. So the challenge here is to commit to just 1 hour each week for the next 4 weeks. 1 hour. To do something purely for yourself that you wouldn't normally prioritize.
Just for you. No multitasking.
No multitasking. It could be something simple like taking a walk in nature, reading a book just for pleasure, indulging in a small treat, taking a bath, whatever feels restorative to you.
Yeah, the reasoning.
It's clear. You can't effectively support your team if you're feeling depleted, running on empty. The source connects this back to that old wisdom. Love your neighbor as yourself. That as yourself part is crucial. It implies taking care of your own needs is fundamental, not selfish.
Right, it's necessary.
When you prioritize your well-being, even just for an hour a week consistently, you'll likely experience greater happiness, more energy, more creativity, and an increased capacity to give to others. You become a better team player for everyone, including yourself.
So to wrap it all up then,
Yeah.
the key takeaway from our source today, this whole deep dive, is that true fulfillment isn't about chasing some external definition of success. It's not just the money or the job title.
No, it's about consciously understanding and actively meeting our 6 core human needs: certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, and contribution, with a particular emphasis on those last 2, growth and contribution.
And the overarching philosophy, the mindset that helps us achieve this, is becoming a team player. Recognizing our deep interconnectedness with others and allowing that connection to fuel our growth and our desire to give back.
Yeah, exactly. And these concrete action steps we discussed, reaching out to the past, both good and bad, nurturing present connections uniquely, and making self-care a non-negotiable priority, they offer practical ways for you listening to start building those team player muscles in all areas of your life.
Leading, hopefully, to greater fulfillment.
That's the goal.
Okay, and with that in mind, here's a final thought for you to consider, to mull over after this. Which of your 6 core needs certainty, uncertainty, significance, connection, growth, contribution? Which one are you currently trying to meet in a way that doesn't truly empower you? A way that maybe holds you back or doesn't contribute positively? And what's just one small change, one tiny shift you could make this week to start meeting that need in a more empowering way?
Good question to ponder.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today.